Join us now for the City of Dillon Council meeting, brought to you by Hometown TV, serving Dillon and Marion counties.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and would you pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, which art in heaven, dear Lord God, it's once again that we humbly come before your throne of grace to give you thanks for all of your many blessings bestowed upon each and every one of us. In the precious name of your Son, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Dear Lord God, we ask that you continuously bless our Mayor Pro Tem on tonight, City Council, our City Manager, City Attorney, and all the department heads as we're gathered together to make decisions for the betterment of all the citizens of Dillon. And in everything we do, we pray we be careful to give your name the glory, your name the honor, and your name the praise. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Glenn asked me so that Tina would be able to tell who's voting for what. If instead of we said aye, we'll raise our hands. So when we vote, if you don't mind raising your hands, could I get an approval of the minute? Get a motion.
Dr. Wallace, if I can ask Glenn.
This part.
For the meetings last meeting?
I'm sorry.
What are we going to
Approval of agenda first.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I said minutes, but I'll try to go in order. Approval of the agenda first. Can I get a motion?
We got a motion.
Second.
All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, approval of minutes, and Johnny had some questions about something in the last
I
minutes.
did, and I wanted to ask you, Glenn, before we approve the minutes, or if we can table it for next time. We talked about the new purchase of the vehicle for Bert Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any discussion in the minutes, and I was trying to figure out why, and if we can go back, put that in there before we actually pass it.
Let me go back and look at it. Janet did the minutes this last one.
Yeah, I didn't right here. I didn't put everything that was said, but I can go back there and put it in.
Okay, so
So you want to amend the minutes, is what the request is?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so
What do you want in there?
I want the discussion that we had,
Okay.
Up to when we voted for the purchase.
okay, so we just table the approval of the minutes, and next time we'll bring back both last month's
Yeah, we
and
can
this
do
month's minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. My report. I had the opportunity to sit down with Commerce, Maceo Nance. Maceo, I've known him a long time, and I think he was just getting together with a number of people in the community. I saw people from Lada, Lakeview, school board, and that type thing. But anyway, the meeting was about what Commerce, they were trying to accumulate data about what they thought the leaders of the community thought we needed to do in order to advance Dillon. And I just want to report what I said to him. I think, he said low-lying fruit, and I said, well, it's low-lying fruit, but it's awful expensive. And first thing I mentioned to him is I thought making the I-95-34 exchange 4-lane, and bring that 4-lane back to Dillon. The second thing was, we need to have funding to help us with a 5 million gallon a day, or at least that, sewage treatment plant west of I-95. Right now, we have 1.8, 1.9 million gallons a day coming from Purdue. We're obligated to 2.4 million gallons. I was talking with Alan Johnson today, and they may expand the number of birds they're killing a day. And they used to use about 9 gallons a bird and now I think they're down to 4 to 6 gallons a bird with some of their new techniques. But it doesn't really make much sense, you've heard me say this, to make sewage in Little Rock and pump it out in Lakeview. And maybe we could cut down on some of that stench over there at the sewage at the wellness center, and also cut some of that cost of transporting that sewage all the way to Lakeview. Another thing that I brought up to him was our digital footprint, and I've made the comments before here that somehow we need to figure out how to get in there and clean up our digital footprint. You see these commercials where they have companies that'll do that, and I don't know how you do that, but really we need to work on that. I'm told that we report all crime, and that many communities don't report all crime. I don't want to lie or be deceitful about it, but maybe some of the things that we're reporting we might not need to. As we and I didn't bring this up to him, but just something else that I thought about as we approached a 5-year mark on paying off our debt at the wellness center. That'll be about $240,000 a year that we will, not have to make that payment. The original design of that building, there were pools, not recreational pools. There'll be therapeutic pools, workout pool, and maybe if we could get some idea about what that cost is now. Glenn and I were just talking, and the rough memory was $1.5 million, and I think that probably is probably closer to a couple of $1 million. If you go to other municipalities that have pools, and they're usually, most of them, quite honestly, are bigger than Dillon, but the old people, I'm one of them. They take over that thing, and the old people get in there and they do. I got all kinds of people with arthritic knees that can't run, can't get on a treadmill, can't get on an elliptical, but they can get in a pool and they could swim. So just a thought. I'm not powering this through, but I think it's something that it was in the original design. We thought it was a good idea then. I still think it's a good idea. Another use of that is having all third graders go through some type of swimming lesson, at least learn how to dog paddle. I think that would be a good community service for us. Going into the next couple of months, there'll be a lot of things, and thank goodness I don't have to speak during these events, but I'll be showing up representing the city at a number of Dillon events. That's about all I have, Glenn.
You gonna talk about those events?
I could.
Just announce.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. The annual holiday goodness is this Saturday. It's the 9th annual, and the 6th annual chili cook-off, and this is for the Humane Society. I don't know whether any of y'all have been out there for these things, but the Methodist men, we go out there, and somehow we win every year, the People's Choice, but you pay to get your tickets, and ours just happens to. The judge came by last year and says your little dish is full. I said, yeah, isn't it great? He says, we hadn't started tasting yet. I went, ooh. You can fill your own pot, But anyway, it's a lot of fun and a lot of activity, a lot of energy, and a lot of things that, to me, make Dillon great. And these are the things that we need to have on the internet, not our On the 3rd, there's the 3rd annual Christmas tree lighting. That'll be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and we'll have music by the Dillon High School Chorus, hot chocolate and cookies. I feel like I'm reading out the calendar of a Hallmark movie, you know. But December 5th, the Chamber of Commerce annual Christmas parade, that'll be at 4:30. That's a Thursday, December 5th. And then the 7th, the 12th annual breakfast with Santa at the Wellness Center from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. That's the Dillon Kiwanis Club and in combination with Parks and Recreation. The Dillon County Hometown Theater Hometown Christmas Benefit Concert, 7 p.m., and I assume that's on the 7th also. So a lot of events coming, so try to support the Dillon community as best you can. That's all.
I think it was last month there was discussion in the previous month about the existing island on East Main Street here at 301 on the west side of 301. Talked with Terry Marsh, who helped us in the one that we removed 9 months ago. He got with the highway department who would give us approval to move it. And if we moved it or relocated, taking it out, we use those words, we would have to come back and resurface the road pretty much like we did on the other side, from curb to curb for a block. And the cost for that one was roughly $35,000. And the contractor who did it was in town at the time doing work for the state. And that's the reason it
Got that.
if for some reason they're not doing work in our area, that cost would go up. So the estimated cost, if we did it, would be anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000.
Did we say we absolutely were going to do this, or you just asked?
I just came back and brought you information.
You know, I talked with Bert, and you know, one, I don't see the obstruction is, you know, the traffic going that way is a tremendous problem. But you know, those planners, and I told Bert, I said, you get a plan and let's put a light there. I said, I'll pay for it, and if you want to tear it up, that's fine. But I just think that can look good. It's, if you're coming in from the beach, and that's where you're going to see it, you're not going to see concrete. You're going to see greenery. You're going to see softness. I think it's inviting to downtown. Even if you put a little sign there that says "Welcome to Downtown Dillon," or I think that could be used as, instead of a little bit of an eyesore now. I think that could be dressed up and really made look nice. And
well, let me add this. I will tell you, if it's taken out, the configuration of that's what's there now, won't change. Turning lanes will stay the same.
yeah,
You'll have 3 lanes.
oh, that configuration would not change
Would
even
not
with that
change.
taken out.
The
And
only thing
it
you
wouldn't
just-
make sense for the designers to, you know, put something there that,
The state won't change the traffic flow.
okay,
Now, the one we did on the
Other
east side of
side
301
changed,
added
yeah,
a turn
turn
right.
lane, yeah.
But in this case, it would not change anything based on DOT.
Well,
We didn't see funds pay for that last time?
Actually, no. We paid for it. I applied, which we thought C funds, which they said they would, but somehow the state got involved. The state is reimbursing us. So, I mean, in essence, we got that one at no cost to us. And it could very well happen this way as well. Don't know that. We just have to apply and see if they would do that. Why it went from C funds to the state, I'm not sure why they changed it, who was going to reimburse us for it. But, and that's possibly, this could be done the same way. But there's no guarantee.
Well, I've just had a lot of citizens say, you know, on the east side, it's just been tremendous to see it open up like that.
And that one helped
Yeah, that one, I can see the hell
turning
there,
lane to the
especially
right.
with that turn
You now
lane.
got 3 lanes at that stoplight. Same as you do heading east on Main Street at the stoplight. You got 3 lanes there, 1 right, 1 straight, 1 left. So that wouldn't change. And you have the entrance onto East Main, just like you would coming off 301 going east, 1 still single lane. So none of that actually would change.
And the downtown master plan that this guy's doing, how does he feel about all this?
We haven't gotten there yet.
So,
Okay.
so,
I mean, is he gonna speak about it or something?
No, we haven't, all we've talked,
We ain't talked
we
about
just,
it.
yeah, we just did an interview and bringing that interview to you guys tonight.
I'm just looking at trends of other communities, and a lot of the planners came up. But if we gonna, I just feel like if we're gonna remodel downtown, it's just things we need to consider. Because we're having to take care of it. And I don't, that big one is not being taken care of.
No, and that's,
And you agree with me?
and this is kind of what I would like, to see us embrace a little bit. Maybe the people that it'll affect will pick up a little bit. I talked to Bert, we've bought that Price building and, I'd like to, clean it up, put new mulch in it, put lights in it myself, and maybe we could encourage some of the people that have stores on Main Street if they wanted to enhance their,
So how are you gonna control that to each one to make it the same?
uniform.
Uniform.
You go through Bert.
Well, you go
So
through
it'll be
Bert.
something Burt's gonna agree
I don't think
to.
you go through Bert, do you?
Who would you go through?
I think having fallen under you wouldn't be with the codes and everything and making sure the planners, does that have anything to do with you?
No,
Who, as far as uptown and keeping everything clean?
it's Bert.
Landscaping is where
Yeah, it's all under Bert.
exterior buildings and things are part of code.
Downtown, or is it Dillon beautification, downtown beautification, the truck, that's all under Bert.
I just think we're gonna maintain it in the future, whatever the end result is, we need to probably bid it out and have an outside landscaper come in and look at this stuff, just to keep it to where we need to keep it. I don't want to see dead plants in it.
I'm with you.
I mean,
Yeah.
you like your yard, I take care of my yard. I just want it to look presentable to make a better community,
Yeah.
to make it look good for downtown, because we're gonna get new businesses down here. We're getting new businesses,
A lot of activity,
a lot of activity.
yeah.
And I just think we owe it to these business owners to make it look presentable downtown.
Yeah.
But as far as the main one we're talking about in the middle of the road, are we still gonna take that one up?
No.
Y'all haven't voted on it, all
Well,
you did was
I
see
mean, I
what
understand
it's
the
telling
sign
you-
was in the parking area. and everything.
It doesn't take up,
But
it ain't gonna change the traffic. So your goal was to change the traffic flow like it did on the east side of it. There'll be no change in that traffic flow by taking that island up.
So you're saying on the opposite side, across from the Chamber
Right
of
next to
Commerce?
Old First, yeah, right.
Across from Chamber of Commerce, we can only have parallel parking there. Well, now, we can never go back to the way it used to be. Yes or no?
I don't think you can have on King's side.
Because really what that
You wouldn't
created,
have room.
it literally killed that property on one side of the road,
Where is that?
where the Belt building was
Used to be.
torn down. I mean, it.
Yeah, I don't know that,
I mean, if we're ever gonna be able to use any of these empty lots or properties.
but if you took the island out, it would change again.
Because you say we have to have the turn lane.
Yeah, they're not gonna change.
Now DOT, you've talked to them about the possibility of going back
Yeah,
to 4
They're not gonna
and
change.
not having a
that.
turn from the city outward, only from the opposite direction.
Well, by doing that, then they've got to change their traffic signals and do all that, and that's
But
a
can you
cost.
look into that?
Yeah, but that, I can tell you, that's a cost to them, and as long as it doesn't cost them anything, they don't have a problem what we do, as long as they approve it. But I'll ask, but I don't
To
think.
me, it wouldn't be anything but the turn sign on one side, not on the opposite side.
I'll ask them.
Which is something to ask. I'm just trying to make downtown better. For all these.
And in the meantime, I'll also see if we can get somebody to give us an idea of what the cost would be. And that would just be an estimate based on what we already know, what we're doing. And see if they can give me an answer before our next meeting.
Okay.
And have it before you
And
meet some.
I also mentioned that one planter on the back side where you can turn on MacArthur
On
to
North
Calhoun.
MacArthur, no, South MacArthur.
Please, let's strongly consider removing that.
Well, once again,
If we can,
that street is ours.
and you understand what I'm saying, Dr. Wallace?
MacArthur.
It's the one on the corner,
This would be beside the old Belks building on the corner
just one planter.
off of MacArthur Avenue, across from the chamber,
Okay.
on the water fountain side, but across the railroad tracks at MacArthur and Main Street. There's one planter at that corner.
My suggestion was to go back to 2 lanes there, just on that side, 2-lane traffic. To
Right
give
now,
us
that's one-way
more
traffic.
traffic in that area, so it would drown out Hampton Street. I mean, I've gone down there, just like you live in this community too, I live here, all of us live here. If you want to help that area, have traffic go in 2 different directions. And make it more busy, and that'll go away. Where it goes, I don't know. But I hate
Not
to see,
understanding exactly what you.
Well, I have to show you.
you know,
on
when
the
you
map.
cross the railroad track
Right.
to the right, there behind where the Beck's
Right.
building was, there's one planter on the corner. That's cut to 1 lane down to Calhoun,
Okay.
1 lane. And it's from Calhoun across. Take that one,
Calhoun back to Main Street.
right,
Okay.
take that one planter, one,
Mhm.
and go back to 2 lanes there.
Okay.
And it'll give us more traffic.
Look at
A
that.
lot of traffic will be there. And you won't have all those cars stopping, and I see it all the time. And the police can't do it all. I mean, this could be something we could easily do to create more mobility in that area. If there's more mobility on that street, you're gonna have less corrupt things happen. I mean, it's just a rule of thumb. Any city in the world that has a one-way street, you're gonna have a problem if there's already a problem there.
Was it 2 lane before the planter? I
It
don't
was
think it
2
was.
Yeah, it was-
It was,
I mean,
okay.
there was not a 1 lane in this
Is
whole
that
thing.
for railroad?
Well,
No,
MacArthur-
that's 2.
North MacArthur since 1992, and that's since I've been here.
Right, it's always been one lane.
since
No,
I've been here.
it was 2 lanes.
I'm
When I
saying-
was-
Since 92, it's
Yeah.
been.
Well, when
one
I was a
lane.
little boy, went to theater, it was
Right.
2.
I mean,
And-
Everything all the way down was 2 lanes, just like it is on the opposite side and across from our lot.
Okay.
It's 2 lanes there. I'm just saying, you don't have to change that frontage on MacArthur to those other businesses. I'm not really interested in that. I'm
Right.
just interested
Make
in
it
the
2
other lane
lane on,
from the
Trying to
the
police.
create
south
some
side.
Try to
flow.
help them
Yeah.
have more mobility down that road.
So who would turn,
Everybody and your
who would
son.
turn right on that, on MacArthur?
You
to
wanna
go
know how
Calhoun?
fast it would change that road? It is bottlenecked up every day at 301 at that stoplight where that big planter is in the middle. I back up there all the time. I have nowhere to turn except in front of the theater to the left. I can't go to the right. It's 1 lane. If you turn that to 2 lanes, everybody will cut that way to get away from all that bottlenecked up across the railroad track. They'll all turn that direction. We got 13,000 cars per day going down the city of Dillon. I think any way we could do that would benefit our congestion up in
that
that
one,
area.
like I said, that one on South MacArthur, we own that road, so we don't have to get state's approval. That's just y'all's approval to handle that.
Well, I'm hoping we'll take a vote up for that one and get rid
I'd
of
like
it.
to see it.
There's not even a plant in it. It's just 1 tree.
Yeah.
That's it. All the plants are dead. And I want to go back to 2 lanes there. I heard that complaint hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, y'all.
I don't know if it has to be, Jack was just asking, would it have to be an ordinance? I don't know if it be an ordinance or a resolution. I would look to see, since we own the road. I can bring something back next month and have it on the agenda.
So this is South MacArthur.
South MacArthur from
South of
From Main Street
Main
to Calhoun.
Street.
To
Main
Calhoun
Street to
Street.
Calhoun.
And even a supervisor or a manager of Family Dollar has mentioned it to me 2 or 3 different times over the past. So it's always been in my mind. I just think it's something that'd be real positive for our community and easy to do. Because you could turn there, go back in 2 different directions to Family Dollar, instead of going all the way back around, one way down Calhoun, and no one's gonna go that way. They're all going out to the frontage to go into Family Dollar. This way you got 2 avenues to
Yeah.
Family Dollar.
Let's just take the next month to get an opportunity for everybody to go by there and look at it, and it sounds like something that doesn't sound like a bad idea. I'm not opposed to it, but I would like to see what we're gonna do before we, and y'all look into whether it's has to be a resolution or not.
So as far as the middle island, are you going to look at the changes, the DOT?
Yeah, I'll ask them, but
I think if you do this, it'll alleviate a lot of congestion off that center option.
I'll ask them
And
if they change.
I don't have a problem leaving it if we're landscaped
Clean it up.
properly.
Yeah, let's clean them all up.
I don't care, they can leave all of them.
Yeah.
They're
I'll
landscaped
ask
properly.
if they will be agreeable to change the traffic pattern there. See what they tell me.
All right, what else?
LED lights, street lights, Main Street from actually the courthouse down to Posts and off the side streets where we have the decorative street lights. Those have been changed over to LED along with all the street lights on 301 from Radford down to East Palmetto Street, which is about where the Dillon Church of God is located, or their building's located. Those have been done by DOT, so that's been taken care of.
That wasn't cheap.
We were awarded, and you folks passed a resolution a month or 2 ago with the municipal association if we could apply for a grant through them for $25,000. Bridget Thornton was contacted about 3 weeks ago stating that we have been awarded $25,000, and that is for the downtown master plan. Tonight we'll have Mr. Jason Ethley from Benchmark Planning later in our meeting to discuss his proposal. But I do want to let you know that has been awarded by the Municipal Association. We also were notified last week from the Rural Infrastructure Grant Program through the Commerce Department. We were awarded $479,500 for rehabbing the Highway 9 water tank. Of that $479,500, the city will spend roughly $100,000 of its own money to meet the project needs, and that is.
That's out of depreciation, or
Yeah.
where do you get that money?
That could be out of depreciation and/or we'll budget for the coming year,
Okay.
because it won't be anything that'll start
Yeah.
in this budget process. But that's rehabbing that old tank and the building on that property as well. And lastly, if you came in and noticed, hopefully you did, there's a red, white, and blue box in the hallway. That is a box to collect worn and torn American flags, and it was an Eagle Scout project done by a young man, William Williams of Troop 769. So if you have an American flag or a state flag, he said he would take, that's been worn or tattered, just bring it here and put it in that box, and then that Troop 769 will do the proper etiquette and disposing of those flags. Bessie, have you talked to him?
No, but I saw him out the other day.
Could I bring something up?
Sure.
I think we've touched on this before, but I've done some research, and part of my continuing ed is we go over a lot of the port transportation credits and all the credits that are available, which is a lot of them, and I know Dr. Wallace has talked about the inland port. I just want to make a suggestion. If we have Jobs Act and we have qualified opportunity zones, and there's just so much grant money out there, especially, I think there's some mural-based grants for murals. I just think our city website should connect investors to all opportunities for tax benefits and grants. I mean, in any way. And I just don't want to be for city. I want it interconnected for everything. Especially the Inland Port has got a tremendous amount of credits right now available through them. If stuff comes in for that, it'll help the city. Now,
Explain credits.
Credits for job credits is the withholding credits are given toward these manufacturers that are on invest. They can get up to $15 million for their investment toward these, especially job credits. The port credits are for any facility for wholesale goods and distribution, for freight goods, materials, eligibility for freight forwarding, freight handling, goods processing, cross-docking, transloading, wholesaling goods, distribution facilities. I mean, y'all, it's just endless. The benefit we got in front of us, even if that business is located in the city limits, and a lot of it could be. And we have some facilities that could house that, and I hope and pray that that happens. I mean, it's good for our community. The job credits are very attractive to these people coming in. I just want it where they go on our website and all these different channels pop out.
Do you have any links?
Investors.
Yeah.
Do you have any links for that, or?
Well,
I guess
there's a lot of different ones, especially on qualified opportunity zones. If they attract investors, you got 3 census tracts in this town right now. You got a good ways down First Avenue, I think all the way down to Cleveland. Across, I've had some people to call me, how far does it stretch? Does it stretch to Jefferson? Does it stretch, how far does it go? Where are the opportunity zones? There's 3 in Dillon right now.
I think there's only 1 in the city, am I correct?
But if you go to IRS.gov, if you go to IRS.gov, it paints an entirely different picture on what's available from the federal and the state perspective. And I think we need to give the federal perspective, because that's the big credits from a lot of different angles. I know that grant writing is the name of the game. And commercial writing is even bigger than that. There's a tremendous amount of stuff out there that I think we need to be tapping into. And us as a council, I think we need to explore every opportunity we can.
And make sure that,
But we're in a
I'm sure
point.
Clay Young,
We're in a point right now, even with Clay, if we partner something out between them, I know you understand what I'm saying. He's got a tremendous mind when it comes to that, and I just think that we need to get it from any direction we can. But I just think our website needs to shoot people in all these different directions.
Yeah.
It's easy to do on the link.
We'll look.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to go on our website.
Link.
My wife and I both went on there, and I said, what's in here? And it really doesn't go in all these areas. I just wish it did. Because we want to build a better Dillon.
We'll
The
look
only way
at,
we're going to do save downtown and save and build our community up is we've got to give these tools and these opportunities to investors. Our town is sellable, believe me.
yeah, absolutely.
The buildings are cheap, y'all.
we'll look and see how we can link to those on our website.
But I have investors that call us every day. And I have to go all these scenarios and where to go. And it's a lot of places. I just can't sit here and tell y'all, but it's a tremendous amount of different areas you go to.
That's all.
Got it,
I have.
Glenn?
Yes.
Okay, Janet, finance.
Okay. General fund, our total cash account is $1,622,122. Our revenues versus 2018-19 would be $480,186 more in revenues in 19 than 18, but that also includes the $252,085 in the loan proceeds. you took that out, it would give you $228,101 more revenues in general fund in 19 than 18. Our expenses was $361,269 more in 19 than 18, but in that, you've got your garbage truck expense, which is $252,085, and of course, your Main Street paving was $35,759. If you took those out, it'd bring it down to $83,425.
I got a positive of 128,000 over last year, you know, taking those out. Only thing that I was concerned about when I reviewed this was your sanitation fees were not quite where we thought they would be. That's line item 25.003180.
Where you say, where are you looking at?
Sanitation fees.
Maybe I should.
What's your number that you're showing? You
Well,
looking
you're at
expensive?
70%, you know, that should be kind of a,
What are you
Where you
looking at?
at? Are you in the expense side or are you in?
Expense side?
The expense side.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
that's
And how-
25.
well, no, I'm sorry, I'm in the revenue side.
And you got how much?
I got, well, we budgeted 350,000 and we collected 29,000. At this point, we ought to be,
What page?
I'm 29%.
What page are you
I
on?
said line item 25.
You're in expense.
You're in the expense side.
Let's look at that.
Well, it says sanitation collection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Collection meaning picking up.
Collection, it says city sanitation fees.
That's what we pay to the landfill.
Okay.
That's what we
Alright.
pay.
Alright.
We paid so far for the year $104,000.
Okay, all right. So we're down then.
We
We're
spent
on a
100
positive then.
we spent
Okay.
104. We've collected.
Okay, go.
We've
So we only spent
collected.
30%.
Yeah, we've
Yeah, we're
collected.
good there then. I'm sorry.
33%.
We've collected $476,000, which would actually be on the third page of that report.
Okay, all right. Let's see, what line item is that?
That would be 31-3100.
Okay, but it's, what percent is that? We're 67, 68%?
That's what we've got remaining to collect.
So
We've
We've already
collected
spent
33%, which is.
We collected 33%.
And we
Okay,
collected
all right,
30%.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You was getting me nervous.
Yeah, well, and I was too, but I see my error. I should not have that glass of wine before I start this, afterwards.
Okay, now water and sewer. Our total non-restricted accounts is $1,699,598. Our restricted accounts is $1,844,762, bringing a total of all of the accounts is $3,544,360. We have spent $287,889 more in 19 than 18, but some of that you've got, you'd have to take out your grant money on that, which would bring you that like 83,000.
Yeah, that's what I got.
746.
Still to the positive though. Yeah.
More revenues. The
The
expenses was $200,247 more in 19 than 18. And a lot of that's got to do with the repairs at the wastewater treatment plants and Cypress Pond.
Does that also include what we paid in the grants for the 2 lift stations? That's
No,
okay.
no, it doesn't.
That's not a part of it?
No, we don't expense that out till the
Yeah.
project's completed.
Hardy, you got an idea how much it's gonna cost to get that fixed out at the Purdue?
No, so not yet. I'll know more about it tomorrow.
Okay. Got a pump down out there.
The PLC's bad.
Yeah, it's not a pump, it's the computer inside the lift station.
Okay.
It doesn't read what it's supposed to read, so we have to shut it down and put in a bypass until we can get that panel sent to us. We'll be doing everything off the bypass at the pump station at Purdue.
So the pump is fine?
Yeah, the pump's fine.
Oh,
It's just the
okay.
control- It's the control box.
Okay. But you have to bypass it in order to
Yeah.
fix it?
We gotta pump it out to get it, but without the control box working properly, it won't work.
Okay, all right.
The golf course, we collected $2,100 more in 19 than we did 18. Transferred 60,000 year-to-date. Our expenses was $7,626 more in 19 than 18. A lot of that's got to do with pumps as well, and
Yeah.
equipment repairs.
And you're not gonna overseed, so you'll save that money this year, right?
That's correct.
Not gonna
Not
overseed.
overseas.
No.
And we're gonna just,
Transferred, Todd out to the golf course.
He's working both right now.
So is he getting paid out of the
No,
golf
he's
course
still
fund?
coming out
Is
of
he
well.
getting Well, instead of fund?
Then our hospitality fund, we collected $7,641 more in revenues than in 18. We got 5 payments left of $239,474 after we make our payment in February. So our revenues for this year, for 19 year-to-date is $205,647. In 18, it was $198,006.
so we're averaging, how much we averaging a month?
Anywhere from 45 to 50,000 a month.
Hospitality.
Yeah,
2%, more than that.
2%. Now, we have been up higher than that, but
Did everybody report this month?
Oh, year-to-date, that would be after, yeah, that's about right.
Today, we did
Be 3 times, that'd be 600,000, yeah.
Did everybody report this month?
yeah. We've got one, we've got the
Now, and I
contract.
also tell you, our biggest one is McDonald's, and then the month of October, all they had pretty much was a drive-through open. They were doing remodeling inside. So that's probably, because we've been anywhere from 48 to 50,000.
Yeah.
So that's probably
So
where some of
anticipate-
that difference is. But they were closed inside during the month.
By
of
February, by the time we have to make our payment, we'll have 1.2, about 1.2 in it, 1.15, somewhere along in there. All right,
That's it.
anything else? Anybody?
I want to mention 2 things. I rode with Glenn around town, we looked at our water runoff, our ditch lines. I really appreciate you doing that.
Absolutely.
I understand the situation. There's a lot of things going on in the city. And I know that Bert and his staff are working really hard to try to make those positive things happen with that. I understand we have a lot of tile that's collapsed, and that'll be hopefully repaired in the upcoming years. But, I appreciate riding with you. And the other thing is I want to thank Benny Jenright, Angie Freitas. I asked them to do a simple task about cleaning trash up around Dillon, and they came up with a good plan. And hopefully that's something we'll continue. And I appreciate you, Benny, doing that, and Angie, for all y'all done. And I had a lot of people to comment on some areas in the city that looked a lot better. And I think it was down around Hampton Street and some other areas that really have picked up their game, so I was really happy about that. I've had comments, good comments. I appreciate it.
Janet, thank you. All right. Glenn, you want to introduce Jason?
We'll let Bridget, if she would. Bridget, you want to give a little background on Mr. Ethley and what we're looking to do?
Okay, hello everyone. So the last time I talked with you all, we were in the process of applying for the downtown master plan. And of course, during this month, we were notified that we were awarded that grant. And what we want to do with that grant is create create a downtown master plan. And I'll let Jason get into why that is so important. But the reason I'm hoping that y'all will select Benchmark Planning for this task is they are a part of the North Carolina Main Street program. North Carolina Main Street program they're about 10 to 20 years ahead of what we're doing here in South Carolina. He has worked with numerous communities and just our neighbors to the north. If y'all get a chance in the next little while to tour downtown Lumberton, please go downtown Lumberton and look at what they have done over about the last 5 years. About 5 years. If you ever spent any time downtown Lumberton prior and you look at what's happening downtown there now, you will be absolutely amazed. And so I'm gonna give you over to Jason.
Where would you like me to stand?
Probably right here, you might have a microphone there. Yeah.
I've already taken a lot of good notes tonight, so I appreciate all the discussion already about the downtown. My name is Jason Epley. I'm the president of Benchmark Planning. We're located in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born and raised in Lexington, North Carolina, but attended Clemson University with a graduate degree from the College of Architecture in City and Regional Planning. I've been working in downtown development now for over 24 years. I've had the opportunity for the first 12 years of my career to work with the public sector through the North Carolina Main Street program, and over the last 12 years I've been a consultant. My company has been around since 1982. We were incorporated in 1986, and I've been the owner and president of the company since 2014. So that's just a little bit of background. I've had the opportunity to work in a lot of different places all across the country, over 150 different communities. I've worked up and down Interstate 95 with communities, most recently Myrtle Beach, and as Bridget had mentioned, also done some work in Lumberton with their downtown master plan. And Bridget's right, if you haven't been to Lumberton in a while, it's pretty amazing to see some of the things that they're doing with their downtown plaza, the river walk on the Lumber River. They just really had a lot of success accomplishing some things recently. Still a long way to go. But you know, every little step counts, and I think that's one of the most important things about having a downtown master plan is having a vision for where you want to head in the future. You've talked a lot about a lot of different projects here tonight, even, and I think one of the most important things about the plan is to have a roadmap of where you want to go, and then let's create an action plan of how we're going to get there, and how do all these little projects fit together, like taking out a planner in one area, how's that going to affect the whole downtown, the downtown as a whole, or taking out an island, how's that going to impact the downtown as a whole? So I think this gives you an opportunity to look at all those little improvements and all those ideas and pull all those together into a master plan, so that when you make those improvements, okay, I'm making this improvement here, we know how that's going to impact this, what we want to do over here.
Check it off the list.
Well, not only that, but how can we leverage each little thing we do to make Dillon better? And I think that's the goal of the plan. It's certainly my goal. I expressed to the downtown committee when we met a few weeks ago. It might have been a week ago, I'm not sure. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I think the most important thing to me is that you have a plan that's meaningful, that you can do something with, and it will not sit on a shelf. I did not spend my whole career working on plans and working with communities to have something that's going to sit on a shelf. It's really important to me and to my company to make sure that we deliver a plan that's based on good research, based on input from you all, from the community, so that it will be implemented. It doesn't mean it's going to be implemented overnight, but certainly we want to help you identify steps that you can take during the first year. Here are some things that we can do as a community. Okay, years 2 through 5, here are some things we're going to be working on. And then, of course, there'll be some bigger picture, long-term goals and strategies. But the purpose of the plan is to kind of set all that out, so that as you're knocking off these little things along the way, you're getting towards that bigger goal. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm excited. Like I said, I met some of your folks from the downtown committee. They have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. So I think, I'm excited about the potential of working with you all, and be happy to answer any questions that you have. Yes, sir.
I noticed on a lot of your drawings and your project examples, there's you don't have that much as far as obstructions in the road. It looks like the roadways are obstructed. Is that?
It looks like the roadways are obstructed,
Not obstructed.
not obstructed. Okay.
Is that true? And most of your project examples, I was just looking, I like that.
Well, I think the
You're coming
most.
from one Clemson graduate to another.
Well, thank you.
Bless your heart.
See, I had
I had to rub that in a little bit with the manager. I saw that on his wall, the Carolina. There's a funny story about Carolina, I'll tell you.
No, don't say that.
They're all.
Well, it is funny. I mean, I grew up in North Carolina, so when I went to graduate school at Clemson, everybody started making, like, oh, Carolina this, you know. And I was thinking like,
North Carolina, what you got against
Tar Heels?
Well,
What do you have against the Tar Heels? And so finally when homecoming got here, I got it. I was like, okay, I get it.
I grew up in Wilson, so I know.
Yeah, because in Carolina's a Tar Heel. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think the most important thing about the question you just raised is the context of the improvement. And so some of those illustrations that you're looking at there, especially the one you just pointed out from Suffolk, that's a major intersection. It has a lot of throughput, with traffic, and so, we did not show any, improvements in the intersections as far as, right in the middle of the roadway for in that particular case. Now, there may be other cases where you do want to have landscaping in the median. It all depends on the context of the road and what's going on around it, what you're trying to achieve. I know. Heard a little bit of discussion tonight about an island that you want to remove, and frankly, I just don't know enough about that particular island.
But that's something you will evaluate.
But that's something we'll evaluate.
Good.
We have an urban designer on our team, Dan Douglas, who was the director of urban design in Raleigh, which is another community. If you look at, back in the 90s, downtown was pretty much dead in Raleigh, and Dan was pretty much the dynamic leader that helped change that and reopen Fayetteville Street. It was converted to a mall years ago, and basically all the businesses had dried up because there was no traffic, no cars coming by, and Dan led efforts to open that back up. And downtown Raleigh is an amazing downtown today, but not that long ago, downtown Raleigh really wasn't that great of a place to go. It was just a place full of state employees and some businesses and not much going on.
It just seems like a good trend is less things to take care of in these kind of projects to me.
Well,
But I notice, and we have a lot of traffic downtown Dillon.
right.
I mean, I see it every day, and it has to be way over 10,000 cars travel these roads every day, even downtown Dillon. Am I exaggerating with that? It might be in excess of that.
Well, one of my first observations, I've been, through Dillon now and stopped and gotten out, met with folks and walked around. And, one of my first observations is that you can't cross the road unless you look.
Right.
And that's good. There's a lot of small downtowns that, I'm on my phone, you just walk across the road, you don't have to think about crossing the street. Here, you better think about it. And that's a good thing. It's good to have traffic. Good for business. You have your government center here, the post office. These are all things that help generate traffic and drive people into downtown. And so you have a lot of positive things already going for you. You can't create traffic. So the fact that you've got that is a huge plus.
The Reggie stuff is good.
Thank you.
Always a
Put her number in.
We'll get Alabama
We can talk after the meeting. I'd love to.
tonight.
Good weekend. Good weekend.
Now, as Jason said, he met with myself, Bridget Thornton, and three of the members of the downtown committee, which is Stephanie Mitchell. Stephanie was on the phone with us, Brett Tompkins and Steve Johnson, and this is something that they would like for the city to go forward. Is that something you're interested in doing?
We need a vote? A motion?
Well, no, you don't.
What's the end result?
The end result, you're gonna come with a master plan of what he thinks based on what we
Yeah.
tell him.
What's the cost of the city?
City's gonna spend about 5,000.
We got grants for
spend
25,000. I was just curious.
Any other assistance to the 5?
Pardon?
Any other assistance against the 5,000?
And we you don't have to vote on it.
But I think at this point, this is something we need to, it needs to.
Or we'll
happen.
lose the 25, won't we?
What is your timeline
Yeah.
on getting us the information back?
It's a 9-month proposal, basically. It could, I tried to buffer in a little bit of time just because getting started in December, with Christmas and other things going on, sometimes it's,
Yep.
tough to have meetings, but I could at least get started, my folks can get started on some of the background work over December and then maybe start with meetings sometime in January. But 9 months is a good timeframe, but it could potentially be wrapped up before then.
Did you go over those 3 phases?
I did not.
That may be a good idea, and I think he also left that, did he also get one?
Yeah, we got it.
It should show the phase 1, 2, and 3 and that timeline.
So we've really put a lot of effort into phase 1, which is the downtown assessment, because that's really, one of the most critical phases of the project. If we don't understand, you don't understand what the universe is for downtown Dillon, it's hard to make a plan. And as part of that process, we're going to look at all sorts of things, your demographics, parking, building issues, opportunities, where's opportunities. We'll look at traffic, we'll look at the urban design, the landscape islands, we'll look at everything we can. We'll also, during that piece of the study, do what we call listening sessions, stakeholder meetings. And after talking with the committee, a lot of that's really going to be focused on property owners that own property, talk with them about strategies to redevelop their buildings, business owners, other folks in the community that have a stake in downtown, as many people as we can to try to get a good feel for what some of the issues are. So that when we work on the plan, we're grading a plan that's addressing issues not only that I see, but that folks that live here and do business here see with the downtown community. Once that downtown assessment is completed, that's really going to kind of be the foundation, if you will, for how we build the plan. From that, we'll have do some visioning, goal setting, have a community meeting, and then ultimately we'll have the final master plan. And that master plan will be built upon all those things: the research, input from you all, from the committee. Obviously, I'm going to have some of my own thoughts that go into that process too. But ultimately, the goal is to create a plan that is, like I said in the beginning, it's realistic, it's something that you can implement, and it has some phasing to it. You're not going to be able to take it all at one time.
This is something the city council's going to have direct input with.
Well, yeah. Council, business owner, property owners, as you mentioned, general public, and all, they have the opportunity to.
But we'll be aware of every aspect of it.
Yeah.
So we
Do you
can
need a
give our-
motion
No,
or
sir, I mean,
just,
we don't have to have a motion to do this because you approved getting the grant.
okay, all right.
And then from as far as hiring someone to do this in our own procurement policy, professional services, we don't have to bid out, that's just selected.
Okay.
So, there's nothing you need to do. You've already passed a resolution to apply and to go forward.
If I can get an understanding that we're gonna pay you $5,000 to do out of the 25,000?
No,
On
their
top of
total
the
cost is
25.
$30,000.
Total cost is $30,000.
25 coming from the grant, 5,000 from the city.
Just curious, you said you closed that road and street in Raleigh, or you opened it back up.
Reopened it, yes.
What kind of businesses were there? I just, I was curious because I lived in Miami for 8 years, and I looked to see if Lincoln Road was still up and going, and it's still closed. The road's closed, but it's all shops, and it's a great area. What were the businesses along that road that didn't make it?
Sure. So it goes back to the whole, the conversation about context.
Yeah.
In certain contexts in the downtown, there may be an area that should be a pedestrian mall.
Right.
In downtown Raleigh, that was like one of the main
Thoroughfares.
thoroughfares that had been blocked off and turned into this mall. So pretty much a good bit of those buildings were vacant because you could not support a business off of just state employees that had offices there walking around, or the occasional visitors on the weekends. And so when it opened up, the part of the strategy was, while they were actually converting and doing all the construction of Fayetteville Street, the city actually increased the facade grants during that period, so that when the street opened up and was all nice and pretty, all the businesses had been redone too. It became restaurants. If you've been there now, you know what they are today. Lots of some nightlife going on, and viable businesses, because to have building off your traffic concern about the one way, when you do have two-way traffic, it creates more business opportunity.
We're trying to eliminate the business that's on that.
Well, there's like about context, right? So on this particular street in Raleigh, the context was, this is it was blocks and blocks and blocks that a major street was closed. That all of a sudden now is open, and just businesses starting to thrive.
Good.
How many different cities close to us that we've done a master plan? You said Lumberton.
Oh, let's see. Over the years, Myrtle Beach, Lumberton, Fayetteville, Wilmington. Trying to think of all the others. A lot of small communities, might have been just resource type visits. Any other right around here? That's probably in close proximity.
But you finished the Myrtle Beach one?
The Myrtle Beach plan was finished and adopted in March, and the city has rehired us to actually help them with implementation. So they're moving forward, and it's really amazing. They've, if you've been to Myrtle Beach, which I'm sure you have, there's still some remnants of the historic downtown on Broadway, and 501 is going to be realigned, so that big curve, this Main Street now, is going to be closed. And so the city's really, they're taking it to heart and doing their best to implement the plan. They're doing the engineer studies now to look at how the city plaza, which I think is in the rendering there, is going to come to life. They've hired an architect. LS3P is working on the drawings for that. And they've hired us to help guide the implementation of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Mr. Strickland from PDRTA.
There's two different things there. And if y'all don't mind, Mr. Mark Sabisky with Care First Foundation, and that's going to come up too. We've going to tag team this so we can get it done for free.
Great, thank you.
So I heard the word Mr. Maceo Nance earlier, and we're here before the City Council. Thank you all for having us to talk about public transportation again in Dillon and Dillon County. There's been a real big push. PDRTA has 6 years ago, 2013, we had to end our Medicaid contract. At that point, came out of Dillon County. We have not run public bus service in Dillon now for over 6 years. And we get a lot of calls, a lot of information, a lot of folks reaching out, when and where, how can we come back, and we're here to talk about that tonight. There's been a real big push from the industry side, from the public side, from your Harbor Freight, Purdue has been at the table. We've had several, Manhome has been at the table. We have a lot of folks that we're looking at. This plan, we're going to start going through it, and I'm apologize because I printed in black and white to try to save money, and some of the pie graphs I might have to kind of go through for you and give it to you. But if you want to, we'll dive right in real quick. Page 3, I'll just talk about that. We do surveys on board our entire system, and one thing that I like to do to kind of share with everybody is to show that among all the passengers that are using public transit for PDRTA, we currently are in 5 counties. 41% of the folks are going to work, 27% are going for medical appointments, 14% is going to school, and 15%
They don't tell us what they want. They say other or personal, whatever it may be. But the big one is 41% is going to work. A lot of folks don't realize that amount of employees that we transport in the 5 counties that we're actually operating in. The next slide is talking about vehicles. So we do this, like I said, with over 1,000 people, and 81% of the folks that are using the bus service say they have no access to a car. So they don't have a set of car keys with them. The interesting thing that we find is that if you look down, 68% says zero, 20% has one car in their household, and let's see, 2 is 7%, and then 2 or more is 5%. So one thing we find with this is that a lot of them do have cars, but somebody else is using it in their family. So it could be a kid going to school or spouse going to work, and that's just another we find interesting there. The next slide talks about age range. 46% of the folks that are using our bus are between 40 and 60 years of age. 60 plus category is 23%. Mr. Mark's going to talk about some of the senior situation here in a few minutes. 28% are in the 20 to 40 year range, and then 3% is less than 20. Then we're just going into some ridership information just to kind of show where we are now, where we're heading. The downtown shuttle, that's actually in Florence. You can see how the growth is there. The next one is a service we're going to talk a little more about, but that's in Marlboro County. And it's doing extremely well. We started the service last December. We really feel like the model can pretty much be a mirror image for Dillon. And you'll see that the A and B trips within the city of Dillon, we started at 323 per month, and now we're up above 1,500 trips per month on that little route running around the city. The demand response for Marlboro County, along with fixed routes that we run, the demand response, you can see the increase there starting last December.
What is a demand response?
Good question. Demand response, so there's a couple different types of services that we provide. One is a fixed route, where if you've been to Florence, you may have seen the bus stop signs along the side of the road. Passengers wait there to catch the bus. That's our fixed route. Demand response service is another service. We have 2 different parts of this. One of them will be, we have to provide a service that if anybody that can't access the bus on the normal route, they're a walker, a wheelchair, down a dirt road, we actually go to their house, pick them up, take them to their appointments. That would be a service that we have here, but we could definitely do that. And the next slide kind of gets into the meat of why we're here today. The Department of Commerce, SCDOT, the county, some of the area industries, we've been having conversations now since February this year. And we waited until this time because we're just trying to lock down some larger commitments. So the Department of Commerce and SCDOT at the table right now, if everything were to go forward, they're going to be able to provide $1.1 million for buses. With that service, the service that we're looking to do, we'll be connecting Florence County, Marion County, and Marlboro County to Dillon County. We've heard from the industries, and there's really just a big need between the Inland Port, Harbor Freight, Purdue. It's going to be able to open up their recruiting areas, and it seems like they all want to hire more people, and it would actually give them an option to be able to do that. Beyond that, beyond the industry piece, we're looking at several buses being able to run throughout the city of Dillon. We'll be able to connect Lakeview and Latta and Little Rock and Hamer all to the city of Dillon. And that's a daily service that we'd be able to provide. Mr. Trubisky is going to talk a little more about that in a minute too. So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of miles, a lot of hours. We've had 3 job fairs recently. We're looking to employ 2 to 3 employees from Dillon County. Probably most likely a mechanic and then at least 2 operators. The other areas we're going to have operators because those services will start outside of Dillon. And so we're looking forward to doing that. What you want to get in now?
Sure.
Bill back in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. My name is Mark Savitsky. I'm with Care First Carolina Foundation. We're actually the supporting foundation for Care South. A couple of years ago, we got together with Don, and we were talking about some issues we had in trying to get patients moved around to our medical facilities. And we found that one thing everybody had in common was if they're 60 and over, or if they're having health issues, trying to get back and forth to a medical appointment can be very difficult. At the time, we were trying to develop out the new McCall facility that was built up there. And talked with Don and found out how much matching funds, because we looked at trying to do an internal, just a Care South transportation thing. The costs were just astronomical by the time we figured out, having to pay somebody a full-time salary, having dispatchers and the whole 9 yards, just kind of be crazy. So we kind of tabled it, and then it ends up being that as a community, we were able to take it over in Marlboro County and connect smaller communities together. As the foundation, we were trying to work with the demand response and the essential services aspect. What we consider essential services: going to see the doctor, going to get groceries, going to get the dental appointments, that sort of thing. And you'll do that on a looping basis. We found that while the employers wanted to use the trap, that they would have the buses just sit there for 6 hours or 8 hours until the next shift goes in. Well, now we can put them all to work and have them rotate within the community and push people around, let them go where they need to go, and keep your buyers at least here. And you've got a lot of folks that are shopping on Amazon and all the rest of that stuff. That's the new boogeyman for retail. I was in the newspaper business for 25 years. I've never seen anything like it. People don't want to, they don't want to go out of the house. Well, this is a way to get them out of the house. And it's a way to get them to a business. And if you've got good service and a good business, they're going to keep coming back, because that's what they're going to do. And if you're trying to build your downtown and build the traffic for your downtown, having a busload of people come off makes a big difference. The other aspect of it for us was we looked at it as a way to partner with smaller nonprofits, smaller communities. They could come through and use Care First as their agent, for lack of a better term. We would make sure that they were in on all the decisions that were made. If they wanted to come to a meeting or something, know when it was going to be. In the past, a lot of times when things are taken over by larger entities, counties, states, that sort of thing, little players that are going in that do make the difference. They're those, pennies make dollars. They get kind of left behind and get the information that they need on a timely basis. We want to make sure that happens, since we've done that well with we've got 10 different partners in the Marlboro County initiative that we got there. Marty. We've got 10 partners there that just come through Care First, and that's what we're able to do is try to help make sure that they get the information that they need. They get ridership numbers. When it comes to where you're going to have your stops, that sort of thing, your town's better than anybody else. So as we started the thing, it's actually taken us a year, probably, to try to lock in where all the stops are going to be. The demand response piece, we've got one of our partners is the Department of Aging, and we've done some food giveaways and things like that. And Marlboro County gave away a card. It's called the Marty card. We'll probably come up with something similar for the whole system. But basically, in order to get any money from the Department of Aging, you have to track that individual on the bus and off the bus. And say, okay, somebody 16 over got on and they got off here. So if it's 1 mile or 10 miles or 20 miles, we can bill for that. But if otherwise, and it's a free service. So
who do you bill?
The Department of Aging actually is the one that we bill. But what we do is we collect that data, and then once we can prove that those people are on there, they've committed, for Dillon County, they've committed $10,000. But what they've said is, we'll give it to you, but you got to prove to us that somebody got on the bus. We're not just going to give you, we're just not going to give you $10,000.
Right. You do it based on your actual data.
And what we've done there was the demand response piece of this. Most of those folks are 60 and over. They don't have a way. If it's hot, they're not going to walk to the curb. So it's a way to underwrite those smaller vans that you would use to go down the dirt roads and go into the smaller communities.
And those are wheelchair accessible?
Wheelchair accessible.
Every vehicle we operate, every vehicle has to be wheelchair accessible, so everything we operate can take 2 wheelchairs. Everything has 6 to 8 audio, video, surveillance cameras. Every bus we operate has a bike rack on it. So if you're going out in rural areas and someone's a mile away, They don't
Ride
make
their
that walk.
bicycle.
They ride
Yeah.
their bike, throw it in front of the bus. I didn't say it earlier, but roughly 70% of our entire operational expense is paid for by federal grants. Percentage is paid for by the state, and then what's remaining, we have to come up with on the local level. And that's, that's kind of leads into it, the conversation itself. The bus stop signs, we work with local city, SCDOT, encroachment permits, design review boards. It would be something that Dillon, you guys would decide kind of what you want the look and where you want them. Certain places you can't put certain things in the historic district, but there's, we do all that type of work. It's just that we really feel strongly connecting these rural areas to the city of Dillon and what it can mean. A lot of folks are looking for options, mobility options. I've heard it said in several meetings now that people are, paying someone 15, 20 bucks to bring them 10 miles into Dillon.
Yep.
And this service, we didn't talk about it, but one thing we're looking to do is making it fare free. It will be no cost for anyone to use the service. And the reason for that is because fare box revenue that we collect and those expensive automated fare boxes can't be used for a local match. It only reduces the net cost. So if I could get $2,000 in local revenue, it's like bringing $12,000 in a fare box. So it's not feasible. Your mechanics have to go to row calls because fare boxes are jamming. I gotta have someone count the fare, I gotta have someone deliver it. So it just makes sense for every service we provide, because unless the federal mandates allow us to use those funds as local match, it makes sense for it to be fare free.
What do you want from us?
Well, we've been waiting on a few things to take place. We have commitments from Commerce and SCDOT. The service that I'm describing with the assets, the service itself is about $600,000 a year to operate. In fact, it's about $650,000. We are having to come up with roughly 33% of that because, like I said, 67% is covered on the federal side. We've made some huge strides. Mr. Biscuit's been working with a lot of different entities. We have a lot of partners. We've had a lot of partners waiting to see what Dillon County was going to do before they would say they were going to do anything. And Dillon County is moving forward with their commitment of $36,000 on an annual basis. And one thing for us is it can be spread out over months instead of having to be a lump sum. We draw down our funds based on what we spend each month.
So a third of that, 600,000, you need 200,000, and the county gave you 36,000.
36, yes, sir.
They committed that the first year, that over a 3-year period.
The agreement that's in their hands right now is over a 3-year period. So
it's really 12,000.
It's 36,000 a year.
36,000 a year.
Oh, 3 years.
36,000 a year.
They're gonna give you $36,000 per year for the next 3 years.
That's correct. That's the plan.
Well, wow, but, I mean, that still leaves,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, 100.
So our model that I was talking about, we certainly, we don't want to go to one stakeholder for $100,000.
What are your resources outside of the county then? Latta, Lakeview, Dillon, City, who else can you go to for that money?
Well, currently, what I'm working with on, we try to break it up into 3 revenue generating sources. The first one is going to be advertising revenue that we can get, like your McLeod's of the world, your First Banks of the world, the folks that would have.
What typically does that generate a year?
These are around $7,000 to $8,000 a year, depending on the size of the bus.
That's wrapping an entire bus.
Yeah.
Running around the entire city.
Yeah. And then you've also got your, if you do put up your freestanding bus stops, you have advertising revenue you can generate off of those. That's usually incidental, but it's another way to keep revenue generated. The AAA funding was $10,000. We've gotten Harbor Freight, they're going to go in with $20,000 a year, and that's going to be just on the public side, and they'll probably get some more on the employment side. Because what you're looking at, the total number you got is employment and.
Yeah, that's
employment and.
It's treated as 2 entities, but it all comes back to one pot to be able to draw down all the federal funds to provide it. And our operators that are coming in from these other counties, they're going to transition over to the public piece that's going to connect all the outlying communities and the service that are run around Dillon.
Between the industries that are in Dillon County, and the money you're trying to generate, how much money do you see coming in?
What we need or what we?
Well, I'm saying, you saying the county it's gonna give you 36,000.
Yeah.
I don't know what Lakeview and Lattice decided to do for you.
Yeah.
You've reached out to the industry. What are the other industries that you're gonna be commuting these people to? What are they
Basically, have to come up with another 160,000.
Well, so between the
I've
160,000.
got about 120,000
Currently.
committed right now.
120 committed, 36 from the county.
Yeah. And then we got.
20 from-
We've got one RAP, we've got,
20
AAA funding, we've got LATA that has agreed to start, they've agreed to.
What does Ladder decide to give you?
$1 million. What we try to do is we try to take it, we try to, for example, in Clio and McCall, we asked them for $2,500 a piece per year, right? And with Blenheim's about the size of Lakeview, for example. So we asked them for $2,500 over 3 years. So we're trying to do the same thing with your smaller communities here, because it's we're giving them a value because it's not based on distance. Because if it was, it'd be a lot higher. For LATA, they're committed to $4,500 over 3 years, and then after that, they're going to commit further. After the third year, they're going to re-up because they feel that it's a worthwhile project for them, and they've also got some local advertisers and some local supporters that'll help them. But Jared has been very instrumental in trying to make sure that the folks know the value that we bring to the table here and seriously, he's worth $1 million to me.
We think McLeod will be at the table. We're working with them now.
I've got an appointment with her for many weeks. Yeah, Northeastern Tech, USC.
Local or McLeod in Florence?
Local McLeod, yeah.
Local. I talked to Joan.
Paul, could I ask you a question?
Sir.
The number 2 there on the back, where we asked the city of Dillon, you've got a minimum of 2 sites where potential riders can wait safely for the next bus inside with AC and heat. Explain that.
Oh, generally, it's kind of like if you've got those are some things that we did over in Marlboro County. You want to try to make sure that there's someone that can go. It could be a DSS or it could be we've got one of our medical sites that can go in there, have a place to sit and wait for the bus to come. You want to have at least a couple of those within the system to make sure that there's a safe place for them to be, a safe place for them to wait. If it has lights and air conditioning and that sort of thing. A lot of times businesses don't mind having it if they've got some space because they'll also go around and shop.
But I guess after the 4th year, you stated there 2,000 of these funds would be used to build an enclosed bus stop each year, and y'all would match the 8.
That's the beauty of that. And that one, it was what we were going to look for was 10,000 from a regular a year from the city, and then 2,000 additional for the building piece of it, capital funds, because we can match capital funds 80,000.
Yeah. So any of the bus shelters, bus stop projects, like if we find an area where there's 8 or 9 people that's always waiting for the bus, we can go in and put a bus shelter. The bus shelters for concrete and install is about $10,000, but we get 80% of that in federal funds. There's other things that we can look at doing too, like for bike. I don't know if Dillon's thought much about that, but for the stations in large cities you go and you can actually drop $1 a few and rent a bike, and PDRTA through a couple of different programs, we can get 90% federal funds for that kind of project. But the trick is, it's got to be along the fixed route that we provide. But we can get, if you come up with 10%, we can get 90% to put those bike rental stations in. But it's got to be close to proximity to the actual routes that we're running.
What's a bike station?
It depends. That could be anywhere from 10,000 to 200,000, depending on what you wanted to go with. If it was just 4 or 5 bikes, I mean, they have the electric bikes. They have a lot of different options now that you can actually come in. You maybe start small and build it from there. But that's kind of where we're at. A lot of things still, a lot of work to be done in the next couple months to be able to make this thing happen. I have public hearings in Dillon this Thursday. We've had 3 job fairs now. We've got a couple of good candidates, and recently a mechanic that we're hoping to bring on board if everything goes well. You know, the majority of all the fuel we're gonna buy will be right here in Dillon. There's a lot of, you look at the economic impact and what it's gonna do for the city, and then bringing all the folks in from the rural areas, I think it would be a really good thing for the city itself.
What's your plan of starting date?
Well, we've been delayed somewhat. So originally, we were hoping for December. I have 4 assets that I've actually gone out and borrowed from other transit authorities because all the money I'm telling you from DOT and Commerce, we have to actually do an RFP process to actually buy that. Well, a state contract, we can get a little bit quicker. But I borrowed 4 assets, 4 buses that we'll be able to use, and if everything moves forward, the next county council meeting, the documents are signed that we need, and if this meeting were to go well tonight, and a few others, right now, we're probably looking at 1st of January to be able to get this thing started, and it's gonna be cold. But that is certainly possible. We're moving things now. We'll have the operators trained. All the operators trained first aid, CPR. They're all certified. So there's a lot of, a lot of things that's got to happen to fall in place. But we're moving right along, and I feel like we're going to try to get the right amount of stakeholders so that if anybody has to bail, it's not going to end the project. We want to be able to make sure that it's sustainable, which is something we haven't been able to do in certain areas a long time ago. So that model has changed. We want to make sure the product we're putting out there, we don't want folks to get acclimated to it and fall in love with it and then have to rip it away from it. We want to be able to make it stay here.
So you're asking $10,000 a year?
Yes, sir, for a 3-year commitment of.
Some of our other communities have used their, the funds from, the train. I'll think of it in a second. Hotel accommodation tax funding, that sort of thing.
Hospitality.
Some of them use hospitality funding and that sort of thing for it, because it kind of ties in there. But it's all.
It might be a twist.
It might be a twist.
Yeah.
But that's
Tourism based.
All right.
Well, Mr. Strickland, would you be willing to come back in about a month, since you got so many more moving parts, and you're trying to piece the puzzles together till we can find out how much money you're actually gonna generate after you talk to all these other people?
I certainly can. I mean, I will say that we have to have, my board has to approve this process. They haven't approved it yet. I have a board meeting the next Thursday where I'm bringing this kind of information to them, and they're going to want to see kind of where we're at before they can approve it. Everything is in place. The public hearing piece that I'm having this week, all those comments go before my board. They'll hear those. If we come to Dillon and 500 people show up and say we don't want public transit, then we won't have public transit. So it's going to be contingent on that as well. But I certainly can. I do think that if we want to try to get started in January, we do have to kind of get the ball rolling. And I know that I probably should have been here a few months prior, but we were kind of waiting.
Well, it's just $10,000, that we're gonna have to find in a budget that we don't have a lot of fluff.
And the other aspect of it is it comes, you don't have to spend $10,000 on January 1st.
Right.
It's $2,500 a quarter, if you want to do it that way, so it alleviates your cash flow issues.
And actually, your federal fiscal year is July, so
Yeah.
really it's $5,000
Yeah.
before your new budget is
Yeah.
in place.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We need to direct us on, what do we need to do as far as,
I've spoken with county chairman, Stephen Rice, on several occasions in the last week or so about it. I think the county is going forward. I can't speak on their behalf what they're paying, but I don't think they're paying $36,000 the first year. I don't think that's correct, but I could be wrong, so I won't speak on that. I sit here and Mr. Strickland and I had this conversation last week. Is there a need, and undoubtedly there is a need if the industries are one of the reasons they're pushing it.
Right.
But they're pushing what they need, which makes sense.
we get the advantage of having those buses here while they're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do we, and I'm in the middle of town every day. maybe I had blinders. I don't know the need in town.
Yeah.
I
And
really don't.
all I can
don't know how many
say, yeah.
patients come to you that,
And all I
They
can
do.
say
I
is
don't know
there
about
is
the
a
others.
number there.
Yeah.
There is a number, and they charge them, you know, all kinds of money to run. I mean, $12, $15 for a family member, you know. I love you, but I need
Yeah,
$15 to
you
take
need
you
to
a
pay for
mile and a
gas.
half up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
So I think there's probably a need. You know, one of the things he and I talked about, and he brought up, and I'm glad you saw the back of that page, Councilman David. I don't know if many saw that. You know, locations to have an indoor. You know, City Hall or City County Complex could be a location. Because you have central area here, people paying water, sewer bill, maybe some of the property tax, probate court, you know, whatever. And then you have a large grocery store across the street. So, you know, that could be something to be done here.
Mr. Tripp, you walk back in. I want to ask you another question. Your bus service hours, what would they be?
Okay, so that's a good question. The services for industry, in order to come from those other counties, you got to start at 5:30 in the morning to be able to get to Harbor Freight and Purdue and other places. So those buses will actually drop off the first shift employees, then they would be able to start. So I would say somewhere around 8 a.m. And you're looking at about 8 to 5 on the public side, and then you know, then we're looking at trying to get some second shift coverage as well with this program. You know, the Hartsville Transit, I didn't even talk about that. We just started in May, we started the Hartsville Transit, and I came before the city council talked to them, and it was very similar. You know, we don't know what the need is. And we were in Hartsville 9 years ago. The route did not do great at all. We did things a little bit differently back then. I was anticipating 400 or 500 folks a month using that service. And from May to right now, I think last month we had 1,500 passenger trips just in the city of Hartsville. So the way we're going through that process in a way that information is being put out there, and the app on the smartphone that I didn't talk about earlier, where you can track a live bus anytime, where in your service area. You don't have to go wait by a bus stop for 10 minutes in the middle of the summertime. You know where the bus is. We're actually exceeding our expectations in most areas, and I know for a fact, connecting these rural communities and within the city of Dillon, the need is certain. And it wouldn't take long for that to be visible.
What's the rotation on the stops, on the 10 to 14 stops in Dillon? What's the time interval?
In the city of Dillon, we would probably run a 30-minute headway, which means from this, let's say wherever the starting point is, if it's City Hall or wherever maybe in Dillon, 30 minutes later it'd be back to that point. A lot of places it's 1 hour, depending on the service. I think Dillon, as far as the city itself, is just within city limits, you could probably do every 30 minutes.
Well, like a disabled person, would they have could they call your office somewhere when a bus pick up a separate wheelchair
Yes, sir. So we went from barely having any demand response trips in Marlboro County. Now we have over 500 or 600. What those folks are doing, they call us the day before 6 p.m. So if you call me tonight before 6 p.m. and you needed me to pick you up tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, take you to your appointment, we would do that.
Yeah, now I think there's some kind of transportation they get for 3 days.
72 hours.
Yeah.
That's for Medicaid purposes.
Yeah, right.
And we have seen a lot of folks start using our service, because what happens with that, and I'm not talking down about them, but you end up having 70, 80-year-old individuals get on the bus, and then they ride around for 3 or 4 hours before they get home. And they find out there's another service that can go to their house, pick them up, and there might be just 1 or 2 people on the smaller buses. They jump all over it. They want to get away from that environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a better situation.
How many days a week?
Starting out, what we're looking at is 5 days a week. That proposal and that cost of service will be 5 days. We already have folks asking for more service on Saturdays and Sundays, and that's something that could come down the road. But right now, we'd be looking at 5 days.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do we need to do?
Well, you can't do anything not because
It's not on the
agenda.
okay.
I mean, you
So the
had
earliest we could
here
give you an
first.
answer would be next, we'd have to put it on the agenda for
Yeah.
next time, next month. Is that, I know that's not what you want to hear, but
Certainly made that.
kind of quick, for us. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So let's just put that on the agenda and y'all think about it, ask around and,
Well, I'll probably just call each one of them too to get some information between now and the next
Okay.
meeting to get some feel, because you're talking $10,000 through our budgets. We're almost 6 months into our budget, so we have 6 months remaining. $35,000.
If the county's already doing it,
The county hasn't paid any money yet.
but when they do,
The county's paying money in July.
is a bus gonna come into the city?
I can't answer that.
Is a waiting area gonna be at the courthouse? I was just wondering.
Don't know.
Is that something we need to reach out with Glyber and see kind of what they're thinking?
I will.
Okay.
all right, let's move on. Citizens report. Anybody?
Dr. Wallace, I do have over 100 lights, Christmas lights that I got into my shop. I haven't gotten them in any trees yet, but if you want to come by and pick up some and help me out, come get them.
What do I need to do?
Just stop by the shop and say you need some Christmas lights to put in the trees.
Okay.
I got them for you. They're all LED.
Oh, you talking
clear.
about the lights for the trees? Okay.
Downtown, yeah.
Good. All right. I might do that.
Anybody that wants to adopt a tree and put it up, I got them.
Good. You good. Anyone else? Okay, old business, none. New business, ordinance number 19-07, First Bank property. Can you tell me a little
This
bit?
is the first reading on City and First Bank exchanging properties that we've discussed. Their property being on Main Street, and our property being the public parking lot there on MacArthur and East Harrison Street.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Well, let me ask you a question real fast. We talked in previous meetings, the First Bank building. If we decide to go along with this proposal, David had mentioned that the upstairs needed a lot of work done to it. I don't want to misspeak. Am I saying right, David?
That's correct.
With First Bank, are they going to get that cleaned up for us too? So we're moving ready if we decide to go?
I don't think that was anything that we discussed. I mean, that's something we can look at. Right now, and you tell me if I'm wrong, y'all don't use upstairs for nothing, am I correct? I mean, it's.
I hadn't been up
Yeah.
there, so I don't know. I'm just going by what you said. It's a big mess up there, so.
I mean, it's just
Well,
empty rooms. I couldn't, Dave and I went up there along with Mr. Moody, and it was dark. I mean, I don't know that it's ever been used in years, as far as I know.
On, Mr. Long, on the September 25th, Restore Pro gave y'all a recommended work area. Is that something that's
We're
already
in
been
the
done?
we're in the process of that, I think. Wrapped up today. They finished it today.
Oh, okay.
And so we've got to go back, they cut holes in the walls, dried it out.
Okay.
Took care of everything they said they were gonna do. We got to go back in and fix the inside now. That's been done.
Well, that's all I have.
I'll make a motion that we go forward with the transfer.
All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Motion passes. Ordinance number 19-08, closing alleyway, Harrison Street. Any discussion?
Now, this is the alleyway between,
I'll shorten it up. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we do that.
well, let me see where it is. And on the back of your copy of the ordinance is a map.
Yeah.
This is the alleyway that separates
Our
the
property
parking
from
lot
the Stricklands.
and from the Strickland
Yeah.
property, and then it runs behind Black Tire in that vacant lot. It's just an alley that the city hasn't used or maintained. I said 10 years, but
Okay.
we haven't done anything that I know for the last 25 years.
Okay, we got a motion by Councilman David and
Second.
second by all those in favor, raise your hand. Aye. Opposed? Okay, ordinance number 19-09, transfer of city land to Bradley Turner.
This is last month, Leary, you still here? You didn't go to school? This is the property that Leary and McKenzie brought to
supper.
us. Where we have an old railroad spur off of 301 behind Mr. Turner's property that we do not maintain. He's been maintaining it for years. It serves no purpose to us. In fact, there's no taxes coming off of that property.
Okay.
We have had one in the previous years that we did for Arthur Tompkins, 1 block south.
Okay.
I
Can I
make
get
a motion that we
Second.
transfer that property.
second? All those in favor, raise your hand. All right. Opposed? All right, ordinance number 19-10, retail and commercial business incentives.
Back in February, I brought to council some ideas. And I've been sitting on it and sitting on it, and I don't want to sit on it too much longer because we're starting to have movement. But these incentives are something that are comparable to other little towns, cities in our area that are doing. But I don't want to have these incentives strictly downtown. I want them throughout the city. Because we want to see downtown blossom, but we also want to see other parts of the city to do as well. So these are incentives that we're proposing. If you agree with it, we can work with what we have. And then down the road, if we see that we may want to change it, we can do that. I'd also like to think that it would be in our best interest, showing good faith, and for those that are doing some work now, anybody who's already started and drew a permit, that we kind of let them follow in this.
Okay. Can I get a
Anybody
motion?
agree with that?
Well, I'll make a motion that it's the complete city limits.
Well, it is. It doesn't
Yeah.
say. It just says within the city of Dillon. It doesn't say anything about downtown.
Okay.
I'm just letting
No
you know.
boundaries, the whole
It's-
city.
it's
Got a
within the whole
motion?
city.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, budget amendment, ordinance number 19-11, budget amendment. This was the,
Stormwater employees,
okay.
which
So,
will take effect in January based on your last vote of last month.
and that's $11 an hour and $15 an hour.
$26 an hour combined.
So roughly $52,000, $54,000 in salaries. And it generates what a year, 132,000. We got 168,000. Is that what I remember?
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay. You know, we talk about the truck, you know, it's what, $62,000 a year we pay on that, and we got 3 more payments. 2 more payments?
Two.
Okay. Yeah, I know we're gonna have that paid off, but that doesn't mean that we won't have to replace it someday. So, you know, I'd just like to see our budget reflect replacement also of some of that equipment. If you got,
And that's something we can do in the next budget year. If you
Yeah.
like, come up with percentage.
we started with $4 per,
No, I'm talking about
Oh, I know.
for depreciation.
right.
You know, come up, say, 5% of whatever we generate in revenue
Yeah.
goes towards depreciation.
As we see projects, then, you know, we can change that, you know, that number also, the $4. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, and the last ordinance, number 19-12, zoning map amendment.
What do they plan on doing with the property? Why they switching to a B2?
The owner has proposed them to build a restaurant, there, Mr. Terry McCray. It's known as Do Rights, used to have the restaurant here on First Avenue, and he's proposing to build a restaurant on that land.
Didn't the planning and zoning agree to it?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, councilman members report. Johnny?
I mentioned this the last couple of months, with the upbeat grant money. Are we getting anywhere with that, with the $15,000?
No, sir. Unless only thing we can do is bring a civil lawsuit.
But we talked about when we got the purchase from Ms. Mitchell, and we were trying to get some of that money. That happened to me.
That didn't matter. The only thing we have to do is do a civil lawsuit. If that's what council would like to do, we can be more than happy to do.
But didn't the funds from her come to you?
No, sir. We didn't get any of that.
I really think we need to look at getting the taxpayers' money back.
The only way to do that is lawsuit. The only way to do that.